Hey guys, welcome back. I have got another really quick page in my traveler's notebook for you today. I'm using the Flea Market Findings Kit from Citrus Twist. I've used this kit a great deal, so I'm I was going to say scraping the bottom of the barrel, but I'm really not. There's still so much left in this kit, and I really want to try and use it all up, so that's what I'm doing today. Now I've got a little photo from the end of our Christmas holidays. Lil's looking particularly miserable in the back of the car there. I just printed this in black and white because it was a really crappy iPhone picture. It was not well lit, it's a little bit shaky, and black and white covers a variety of sins. So I've made that black and white. It's also going to help kind of the colors on this page stand out a little bit. Now, I had thought that maybe I would use one or two of the chipboard frames, but because I didn't pre-plan this, none of them actually fit my photo particularly well, so I'm going sans chipboard. I'm just going to stick the photo down onto the page. I've picked up a couple of the 6x8 papers. One is this really bright kind of citron-y yellow color. The other is a little bit more of a subtle kind of gray and white pattern. And I was just working out which side I kind of want to base everything on. So my thinking at the moment is that I'm going to have my photo and my title down here on the left-hand side, and just kind of create a little cluster of die cuts with my journaling up here on the right hand. So that's definitely going to be a little bit smaller than my actual photo. That's got the more visual focus, I guess. So I want to put the brighter color onto the right hand side just to help balance those things up a bit. Now, as I was going through the very large, as always, you can see what I mean. I'm nowhere near the bottom of this kit. Look at it. There's still 1,000 die cuts to use. One of those die cuts I'm going to use for my title. It says cheer. Because she's not cheerful, I'm going to use the alphas to kind of add a little bit to that, but that's going to be my main kind of title piece. So I've got already quite a strong kind of color scheme. I've got this really citrony yellow and the teal blue, and I want to make sure that I balance those on both sides. So I've pulled out a few die cuts that have got those colors in them, and once I start clustering those things together, I'm going to try and achieve some sort of balance. But before I do that, I just trimmed down those papers so that they fit onto my page nicely. I took them over to my sewing machine and I just stitched around the edges of them. I'm also going to distress the edges with my little Tim Holtz distressing tool here. This is just such a cute kind of shabby chic kind of kit. It really lends itself nicely to stitching and distressing and that kind of thing. So that's what I'm going for. When I did do my stitching, I very purposefully changed the thread in my sewing machine. Now, I don't often do that. I often just work with whatever it's got in there, but I changed it purposefully to a really bright pink thread because I want to add a little bit of just contrast to the other colors that I'm adding to this page. So just adding that little pop of pink, and it's only going to be a little bit, but it just kind of helps to balance out that color scheme. Now, I did temporarily adhere those pieces onto my notebook. I'm not going to adhere them down just yet until I know where I've got everything clustered, but I also didn't want them flicking around the place. I do that a lot, and it annoys me. So I've temporarily adhered them down. They will be stuck down completely eventually, but I am going to just cluster these little die cuts together and then go back to the sewing machine and add just a little bit more stitching, just a little bit more of that extra pink. So like I said, up here on the right, it's really going to be just a place for my journaling, but I do want to get a few of those colors in. So I've got a little bit of kind of a darker orange is another color that I've added in here as well. So there's a little bit on that love die cut, but I've also added in some of that teal with just another little sentiment on there, and I'm doing the same thing down here on the left. So I'm adding all of those colors. So this little label, it's really just going to be a background piece to my title, but it gives me that wee pop of orange. I've got this little sentiment here which has again that kind of greeny citrony color, and then my main title piece which is teal. Now, I'm usually kind of a liquid glue for these very small, thin word pieces, but I just added a tiny little bit of tape runner onto there because I am going to just stitch that down with my sewing machine. That way there's no waiting for glue to dry. I just can go ahead, stitch it down, and then adhere this all into my notebook, and I'm good to go. So you can see I added a little bit of extra stitching down on that bottom sentiment, and I've done the same up here on this right hand side. I've stitched down the love just at the top. It's really just that kind of small detail to add a little bit of extra texture and just that little bit of extra color. Now I love these little square alphas. Well, they're not square, they're kind of like little rectangle alphas. I'm going to use them to finish off my title. So the piece says chair, but obviously look at her face. There's no chair there, poor little thing. She doesn't cope well with a routine change, and we were away for a few nights, not a long time, but a few nights, and it upset her greatly not being at home. So despite the fact that we were heading home, she was not happy about it. So my title is going to be Cheer Up, Buttercup. I'm just going to add those alphas onto my little thickers letter guide here. Very handy wee tool for getting these alphas straight. The other thing is I wasn't sure how long the words were actually going to be, like whether it was going to fit or whether I was going to need to split it into 2 lines. Obviously I can't really split Buttercup, but I thought I might have to split up and Buttercup, but actually it fits really nicely, and you can see what I mean about that label just being a very small pop of orange. I covered most of it with those alphas so it doesn't take up too much kind of visual space. I love these little, again, they're kind of vintagey looking tiny word stickers, so I want to add a couple of these. Boy, did I struggle with this one. I really wanted to add this one because it was pink, so it has a little bit of pink in it. I just couldn't get it in the right place. It did lift a little bit of the print from the paper, but I'm going to cover that up with journaling. I did just echo that little sticker over on the left-hand side too, though. It wasn't a pink one, but it is what it is. Now my journaling, I just typed up on some scrap paper. I'm going to cut these into strips and just glue them down with a glue pen underneath that title cluster. I'm not going to make you watch me do that because it was pretty boring, to be honest. You can see here the end result. Again, just filling up that top cluster so it balances out a little bit with the left. And then the last thing I want to do is just add a few little enamel dots. I never ended up getting these when I initially got my kit, so they've only just arrived, and I love them. They're so pretty, so of course I have to use them. It does give me the opportunity to add a little bit more pink in here, a little bit more yellow, again just balance out those colors. But once I've added a few of those, I'm going to add them in 3 different places just to give me that visual triangle. Try not to add those darker ones despite the fact that I love them, but I want to keep it soft and balanced. That's my page all done. I told you it was going to be a quick one. Hey, thanks for watching today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you again really soon. Bye.